Today I am going to make my own Xbox Series X Pro style controller out of my included Series X controller. I'm becoming more of a fan of Pro type controllers. Having back paddles has been immensely helpful in a lot of online shooters for me, and having swappable thumbsticks for different heights for different games is just really awesome. That being said, I'm not a fan of the Xbox Series X and S Elite style controllers, the Series 1 and Series 2. I had a Series 1, it was a piece of crap, and I guess Series 2 has kind of made up for it, but a lot of people still have issues with it. So getting just a standard Series X controller, just standard black one, buying some extra parts for it is a lot cheaper, and I mean, you don't get the thumbstick customization, like the ranges and curves and all that, but I'm not that intense with it, so this is a much better cost alternative method. So, have a couple things I'm going to do to this one. Like new metal thumbsticks with adjustable heights from Extremerate. Also from Extremerate, we're going to put a custom shell on this guy. And to get ourselves some mappable back paddles, we have the Aeolian Strike Pack, not to be confused with the cheating kind, because I don't condone that crap. This just gives us remappable face buttons, and it's awesome. But let's dive in. Alright, so we have the Series X controller that we're going to be disassembling here. And we're going to be swapping it into this NES-themed replacement shell from Extremerate. So this shell is pretty cool. Like, it's NES-themed, so it kind of goes along with my whole Xbox RetroArch stuff for that retro aesthetic. I'm really liking it. But it's also got a soft touch finish, so it just feels really, really good in the hands. Like, that feels super good. And surprisingly, not too much of a fingerprint magnet. I just had some greasy foods, and that's not really attracting anything. I'm a fan. So we're going to be building our Pro-style controller with this shell as our base. And then we also got some soft touch grips here as well. So it won't have the texturized grip of the original, but I don't think I'm going to mind too much. And then we also have a choice between a set of red buttons and D-pad or matte black. So probably going to go with the red personally, just for the contrast. Then we're also going to be putting on these magnetic thumb caps of varying heights, and there's dome thumb caps in here as well. So this is also from Extremerate. And then finally we have our USB powered back paddles here. So this is all no solder, so it makes it very accessible to anyone that wants to try this type of customization job. But one of the great things about Extremerate kits is they come with everything you need to get the controllers opened and disassembled. So, just gonna dive in and start disassembling this guy. And then all the replacement screws you can need as well in case you lose any. But start off by popping off these handle tabs here. Alright, and then we just need to disassemble these Torx screws here. And there's one hiding under the label here as well. So let's see here. This is the smaller Torx driver, so we need this one. There we go. And with that last screw out of the way, we can pull the front face panel off and get access to the controller within. And then we can just slide all of that out. And we will likely be needing this little battery ridge here as well, so just slide this off. There we go. So just going to set that original faceplate and shell aside. And there is all of your Series X controller. So unfortunately, Microsoft made these a little bit harder to modify than older style Xbox 360 and original Xbox controllers, unfortunately. But pop these old thumb caps off, and I'll be able to easily replace those with this here in a second. But just got to flip this over, and just need to disassemble some of the controller's motherboard here. So just some little screws located around. There we go. And just need to disconnect the wireless antenna here. Be careful with these, you don't want to break them. But that lets us pull off the lower half of the board. Uses a split board design, which is really fascinating to me. And then you just need to slide the rumble motors out of place carefully, so that way you don't damage anything on the internal side here. But then you can mostly remove everything. And keep an eye on your head port adapter there. It's not actually soldered in place, which is really strange. Then just need to slide some cabling out. And then just a couple more screws here on the triggers. That will let you pull off the internal trigger rumble motors. That way you can just get access to the whole shell. There we go. So that is our Series X controller housing that we're going to put all of our new buttons in. And then to get the D-pad out, you just have to unhook it from the top here and slide it down. Or from the bottom to the top. That works as well. But there we go. So now I can just begin populating all of those places with these new red buttons. So X, B, Y, and A. There we go. Then we got screenshot. Make sure I have that facing the right way. There we go. And then our D-pad. So I need to get that, so I just need to get this little metal bracket off of the old one, and now I can latch it in place on the new D-pad. There we go. So that is what we are looking at when it comes to the new buttons. So flip this over and show you all in just a moment. So now we just got to begin repopulating the board here. So just plug that back down, and I'm just going to screw it back in place. Alright, and that gives us our first look at what the new buttons are going to look like, and I have to say that's pretty fun. They don't feel half bad either. Matte finish is a nice touch. something unique. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get the rest of this controller reassembled now. So I'm going to need to get the rear assembly of the motherboard put back in place. That way we can get these rumble motors in place. So just got to be careful with these larger rumble motors because they are heavy. We don't want to rip that connector off and have to solder it back on. And then got to grab the antenna radio there. There we go. And then you also need to make sure to get your headset port put back in place, otherwise you won't be able to use a headset. So just gotta get it all put in place. So it goes right there. And then this clamps down right here. Radio, don't go away. And then you just gotta give it a little oomph to get that plugged back in. And there we go. So now we could just reattach the motors. Kind of rotate them to get the cords out of your way. There we are. And then reattach the radio. It's so small. My hands are so large. So, be extra careful with the radio. I almost detached it right there. So, don't want to have to resolder anything. So, yeah, just be super careful. And then for the trigger rumble motors, just got to reroute them through the top of the shell. Through the side here. But I'm going to screw the little motherboard down here real quick. And there we go. So now I just need to reroute this, and we'll be all set. I believe it's something like that. Gonna double check just to make sure. Alright, so went ahead and made sure I had those wires routed correctly and got the trigger caps screwed back on off video real quick just because it was a little difficult. But those are good to go now. So, ready to reassemble the bumper and top of the controller here. So the first thing to make note of is that you get your sync button put back in. It can slide back into place really easily. And that way you can just make sure it works. And then the bumper assembly. Just pull the triggers down. Make sure you have them lined up. And then they just kind of snap back into place. Oops. And you got to make sure you don't get those rumble cord wires in the way, otherwise it just will not work. There you go. Then you can just click them, make sure they are working as intended. And you'll notice that they're pretty floppy. That's just because we don't have the rest of the assembly in place yet. So, there we go. Grab that, and then just snap it on in. And that gets us all latched back into place and ready to go on reassembling the rest of it. And I just pulled my thumbs, yeah, awesome. Pulled the D-pad up. There you go. All better. So there we go. Now I'm ready to put the new Extremerate magnetic thumb caps in place. So just dump those out. And I don't need to put the actual thumb caps on it yet. I just need to put the mounts in place. So line it up and put it on. And this one already had a thumb cap on it. Cool. So line it up. And put it on. And then just, for symmetry's sake, we'll put those on there for now. There we go. So, shell and buttons all ready to go. We just need to attach it to the actual controller itself. So, I'm going to start with the back here because the battery leads might be problematic. There we go. Just got to make sure the battery terminals slide into place here. And it goes right on nice and easy. And then we could put the front faceplate on. That is quite a fascinating shell, I do say. So one thing I will make mention of, there isn't a pad at the end of the trigger pull, so you do have a more audible stop to your trigger assembly this time around compared to in official controllers. So just as an example, a lot quieter for this one than on this one. So if you want to, you can try to remove the pad that is on the end of this trigger stop to make it a little quieter. I'm not going to bother personally. Now just another final step before final assembly. We just need to put the battery plate back in place so that way we can use AA's and such again if we so choose. There we go. And now just slide it back on one more time. And ready to begin final assembly. So just pop that over. And there we go. Now just need to put these new side tabs on. And there it is, all set and good to go. Buttons feel a little bit shorter than a normal controller, but that's actually kind of nice. Oh man, those triggers are so much louder, it's crazy. And since I'm deciding to use this back paddle kit, I'm not going to be reusing the battery cover at the moment, so I'm just going to slide this into place. And then plug it into the USB port here. And there we go. There is my new Xbox Series X customized NES controller with a Pro Pack on the back to make it my own customized Xbox Series X Elite style controller. So, depending on the game in question, I could choose between tall thumbsticks for more precision aiming, or add on domed thumbsticks to get a more PlayStation-esque feeling, or what I like to do with these type of thumbsticks is to use them for movement, actually. But really cool. And it all feels really good, actually. And these bounce into place really well. This is really cool. But there we go. Very nice.
To fight. I won't bend. Round 1. Beginning ring countdown.
Well done, mates. We're inside the next piece, mates. That's one sound. Tossing up some out cover.
Firing. Target over there.
Buddy here, mates. Oh, don't fancy another?
Another.
Backing up the turret. Buddy, buddy.
Attracting enemy shield. Enemy down. Took care of that one. We're already inside the next ring. Nice choice.
mates,
Enemy.
got one there.
Lovely idea.
I'm cover for you, mates.
Reloading.
Reloading. Getting shot at. There's an enemy. Putting up some armed cover.
Recharging my shields.
Right, get my cover out of here. Getting attacked by another squad. Firing. Reloading. Giving my shields a recharge. Enemy OT. Let's go here, mate.
Recharging my shields.
Well done, mate. We're inside the next.
Jump drive in position.
Putting up some armed cover.
An enemy shield. Target down. This one's free. Enemy over
Got
here.
one. Putting up some armed cover.
Shattered an enemy shield.
Charging my shield. There's an enemy.
Enemy down. Reloading. I'm down. Watch out. Enemy target there.
Charging my shield.
Enemy that way.
Firing. Good.
Nice try.
Alright, just spent the last 5 days with my newly customized Xbox Series X controller here. The NES aesthetic is just really killing it for me. I'm really liking this. And the soft touch finish is just really nice in the hands. And I honestly thought that I would miss the textured grips on the back a little bit more than I actually am. But the soft touch is doing a good enough job from keeping it from slipping that not really caring as much. And with the inclusion of that Aeolian Strike Pack, I can make this controller wired or wireless depending on just the type of game I'm playing. So if I'm playing Apex or other competitive games, off comes the battery, Strike Pack goes on so I can get those remappable back paddles. Again, no cheating in this Aeolian Strike Pack, which is awesome, just gives you remappable buttons, and that is exactly what I'm looking for in a pro-style controller that I have built myself. And assembly on the Xbox controller is a little bit more complicated than some other ones, but overall a very easy to do customization job that most anyone out there should be able to handle quite easily. So, links to all relevant parts used in this video in the description below, but I absolutely love this controller. Thank you again to Extremerate for sending me the parts to customize this one out, and thank you all for watching as always. Big thank you to each and every one of you for coming in and watching even a minute on this channel. Really helps us grow it and bring more content just like this to all of you. But I do have a couple of huge favors to ask you here at the end. If you haven't done so already, please hit that thumbs up, thumbs down button, depending on how much you like today's video. And if you haven't already, hit that sub button and notification bell so you can see when new content goes live on the channel. So much more to come. More customization jobs coming your way, so I'd love to see you in those videos as well. For anyone interested in further helping support the channel, you can also check out that join button on YouTube or the Patreon link that'll appear right here in the bottom right hand side of the screen. Little goes a long way to keeping this place up and running and bringing this content to you, and also helps fund future projects that we don't get samples of. So a big shout out to all of our current backers. Thank you for believing what we do here and keeping us going. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. But until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, and we'll see you back next video.